The Great Light, Book 2, Muhammad's Childhood, by Dalal al-Alami, illustrated by Muhammad Fradi. Muhammad, may peace be upon him, returned to Mecca from Badia, where he was living with Halima, his wet nurse, when he was about 3 years old. Amina, his mother, was very happy to see her little boy strong and healthy. She hugged
You
him
so
while
much.
tears were rolling down her cheeks. She had really missed him. Soon, Muhammad, peace be upon him, became close to his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. He spent most of his time with him. Abdul Muttalib was the chief of Quraysh. Everybody respected him. He kept Muhammad, peace be upon him, with him as he listened and discussed Quraysh men's problems. Thus, Muhammad, peace be upon him, at a young age, saw how his grandfather advised and solved the problems of his tribe. He admired and looked up to him. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a happy child. He was raised by a kind and loving mother and a wise, gentle grandfather. However, his happiness did not last long. One day, Amina thought she should visit her relatives in Yathrib, Medina, and decided to take her son Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his nanny, Ayman, with her, as this would give Muhammad, peace be upon him, a chance to visit his father's grave. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was excited to go on this trip. He spent a month with his relatives and played with their children. When Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Amina were on their way back to Mecca, Amina was weak, and she became very sick and died. Muhammad cried. Tears were running down his cheeks when his nanny hugged him. It was a great tragedy for him to lose his mother. He was only about 6 years old. Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his nanny felt sad. They continued their journey to Mecca. His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, took him to his own home, so he became more fond of his grandfather. Abdul Muttalib, who was becoming weak with old age, stayed in bed most of the time. Muhammad, peace be upon him, spent most of his time beside him. He was listening to his grandfather as he asked his friends and relatives to take care of his grandson. Then Abdul Muttalib died when Muhammad, peace be upon him, was 8 years old. Muhammad, peace be upon him, felt sad and lonely. Abu Talib, Muhammad, peace be upon him's uncle, was a powerful and well-respected man among Quraysh. He took his orphaned nephew to live with him. He and his kind wife Fatima gave young Muhammad, peace be upon him, a lot of love and care. Muhammad, peace be upon him, grew up in his uncle's loving family. He played with his cousins and the Quraysh children. At that time, boys his age were tending to sheep. Muhammad, peace be upon him, started to take care of his uncle's sheep. He was taking his uncle's herd to a green place called Ajiyad. He liked being a shepherd. This was one way to help his kind uncle and to have time to think about the world around him. Most of the men in Quraysh were merchants. They took their business trips to Bilad Sham, Syria, and Yemen on caravans. They would load their camels with goods to exchange. They made 2 trips a year, one in the summer of Bilad Sham and one in the winter to Yemen. Like most of Quraysh, Abu Talib was a merchant. He was thinking whether to take with him his nephew to one of his business trips. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was about 12 years old. He was looking forward to go on this trip. Abu Talib was preparing to join the caravan. Muhammad, peace be upon him, asked his uncle if he could go with him on the trip. After some thoughts, Abu Talib agreed. Muhammad was very happy because not many children at his age would have the chance to go on long journeys. When the caravan reached the Bosra market, Abu Talib met priest Bahira, who invited them for a meal. Priest Bahira, who was Christian and had read the holy books, noticed many signs indicating that Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the expected messenger. He asked Muhammad, peace be upon him, few questions. Then he said to Abu Talib that a prophet was coming from the Arab world and that Muhammad, peace be upon him, had all the signs. He asked Abu Talib not to take his nephew into the heart of Balad al-Sham for Muhammad, peace be upon him's safety. Abu Talib finished his business quickly and returned home to Mecca. Muhammad enjoyed the journey and started helping his uncle in his business. Under Abu Talib's care and guidance, Muhammad, peace be upon him, grew up to become a healthy and brave young man.